What's going on, everyone? And welcome to another weekly review. It is the 2nd of September, and as you all know, the time has finally come. We live. We are live. As you can see, $100,000 account on Alpha Capital. Purchased this over the weekend. We're ready. We're good to go. And so, geez, I think before even starting the challenge, this is just a major goal ticked off. Just committing to it. Um, the prep that's gone into this has been, I think, phenomenal. To be honest, super proud of the work that I've put in, the consistency that I've shown, the discipline over the months, the weeks, the days, just day in, day out. I say every week, consistency is a choice that you make when you start doing the things you know you should be doing day in and day out. And I've lived up to that. And so I think heading into this challenge, I'm probably as prepared as I can be. Does that mean I'll pass? We don't know. But I've cooked up a very solid plan heading into this challenge. It's revised a bit. I'll take you through it high level for now, but stay tuned or keep your eyes out for our bi-weekly podcast dropping this Friday. That's a deep dive into Marcy's $100,000 plan, his ultimate trading plan. That's a lot of lessons, so much that you could take away from that. That's a mentorship in an episode. So we took a deep dive over about an hour and really dialed into his plan. The following podcast that releases in about 2 weeks' time, we'll take a look at this plan in a lot more detail. I'll just go through it on a very high level with you guys. As you can see, from a high time frame perspective, pretty much the same. My high time frame checklist is me confirming that the trading environment is conducive for me to identify a setup, for me to identify my trade parameters. As you can see at the bottom, that's something that's changed. But when we go into it, we're really trying to establish whether the daily's at EPD or not. That's equilibrium, premium, or discount. If we are, I'm looking at if the 4-hour trend is counter or pro. If it's pro, then I look at then if my entry is counter or pro trend. And then this is obviously where I get my setup differentiation. Still got the 4 setups, but I think gone into a bit more detail around those 4 separate setups, and looking forward to getting into the detail of that in a few weeks' time. The only change from this side is really if my plan, if my entry is counter trend, but the trend is pro trend. Basically meaning, for example, the daily is at premium, and so we are bearish at that point because trading at a premium and we're looking for price to head lower. The 4 hours flipped, it's also bearish pro trend. If my entry is now counter trend, which is my pullback rider entry or setup, which is essentially trading a correction, then I'm not looking at both the 4-hour and the 1 hour as I was before, because previously this was basically the same setup as this here. I'm now in this environment where the daily is bearish, 4 hours bearish, and my setup on the lower time frame is counter to that, only looking to trade out of a 4-hour key indicator area. So that's a fair value gap or an order block. That's something that's kind of changed in this checklist. Otherwise, everything else is pretty much the same. But again, I think I've just gotten a lot more clarity around what this higher time frame represents. And I think the purpose of it, as it kind of builds into a new checklist, which is my trade parameters. And this now focuses quite a bit on the 1 hour range. And I think that's just looking over my current data. I took about 13 trades post coming out with my interim plan, and reviewing the data this week showed me that the 1 hour plays quite a critical role in corresponding with the daily bias, or at least the session distribution. And so I'm looking if my 1 hours, if my trade is in alignment with the 1 hour range. And this isn't a hardcore restriction. Again, I think I've just been able to identify that there's certain setups in my plan where more often than not, I will be in alignment with the 1 hour range, such as my sniper entry. That's a, bearish daily, bearish 4 hours, pro trend. More often than not, the 1 hour is probably also going to be in alignment. And then also my counter trend trades. So let's say daily is bearish, 4 hours still bullish, 1 hour is likely to be bullish, and my entry is in alignment with that trend. So that's probably going to be where I come in on this side of it. And if that's the case, if my trade that I'm looking to take is in line with that 1 hour trend, then I'm only looking to take setups out of that hourly equilibrium premium or discount area, which is something I saw or I noticed that I took a lot of losses where we were within a 1 hour range, and I either took a setup too early or when price had violated that range, and hence that minor tweak is kind of coming now. So beyond that, if we are on EBD, then the criteria is kind of similar to how it was before. Looking for protraction comes to my bias, and then looking for time-based liquidity sweep or that key area indication, key area mitigation. And then on the opposite end, if the trade isn't in alignment with my 1 hour range, for example, my sniper entries where the trend is counter to the daily bias, but I'm taking those trades out of higher time frame key indicator areas, so a daily or 4 hour order block. More often than not, those are trades that tend to call the top or call the bottom, and so the 1 hour is not likely to be in alignment with it. If that's the case, I need my 15-minute interbank price delivery algorithm to be clear. So that's the efficient market hypothesis, looking at how the 15 minutes behaving, which side we're sweeping liquidity, which side we're distributing towards, which orders are being filled in the market, and which orders are being used to fill orders in the market. That's a major tweak, I think, coming out of month 2 of ICT's mentorship. And so if I'm not trading in alignment with the 1 hour range, then I need that to be clear, because then we can move on and look for our sort of entry criteria. And obviously, if that's not clear, look, we're not trading in a 1 hour range. I'm not clear on what the 15-minute IPTA is doing, then no trade for me. So trade parameters, I think a massive tweak, looking very keen to see how this impacts my results over the course of the challenge. And then once we've confirmed all this, we still then proceed to entry confirmation. And then, this is new as well. So this really just, once the parameters of my trade have been established, then I must still wait for entry confirmation to be able to execute the position, because the trade parameters can be clear, but if I don't get that entry confirmation, then there's no trade for me. And if the trade goes without me, then so be it. But this is just that last line of defense to make sure that there are certain steps that I'm following that I can also track from data that I've seen in these 13 trades of things that have worked, things that haven't really worked, and where I can just look for an added layer of confirmation to make sure that I'm executing at the right area, or the market is showing willingness to move from that area. So again, I'm looking for a 15-minute reversal candle, but coupled with that now is either a 1-minute market structure shift or a 5-minute key indicator area invalidation. So that's a one-sided or two-sided fair value gap being invalidated, or an order block that's being invalidated on the 5-minute. Either that or 1 hour, 1-minute market structure shift coupled with a 15-minute reversal candle, and we live. We can execute. If we get our our risk to reward is a minimum of 1:3, as well as then not being within that 30-minute window of high impact news. So yeah, that is, the plan, high level. There's a lot more detail to this that I'm very, very keen to share in a couple of weeks' time. But like I said, stay tuned for this week's bi-weekly podcast that drops because, Marcy goes in depth around his plan. And so, this is literally a culmination of years of just being in this industry, knocking at the door, being inconsistent in actions, and obviously having certain expectations, doing things well, doing things not so well. And then over the past couple of years, really finding structure in the way I approach this business, because it is a business at the end of the day. You start with a gambler's mindset, but over time, you learn to respect this craft. And I think even going into this, there's a part of me that's telling myself that nothing much has changed. This is just a refinement of the plan. I question sometimes whether I'm ready for this, whether I'll pass it. And I quite confidently came back to myself the other day and was like, look, of course I'm ready for it. That's why we set this deadline. That's why we set this goal. That's why we set this intention. We were always ready for it. We kind of just needed time to prepare. And the deadline that we set for ourselves just ensured that we were focused in our preparation so that when the time came, we are able to put our best foot forward and just execute on the plan at hand. And so the mind is very focused. I think I'm feeling neutral heading into this. Obviously want to pass, but it's also up to me consistently following through on the plan, not getting too excited, not over leveraging, understanding that probabilities are just going to play out. I understand my plan a bit better from that sense, and that I can take 4 losing trades in a row. I can take 5 losing trades in a row, even more potentially. And obviously just not letting that impact the action that I take, the subsequent action, because every trade is different. No trade is the same. And so it's just not bringing that expectation into each setup, and just remaining sort of psychologically level-headed and balanced. And so looking forward to sharing this journey with you. It's been a crazy journey leading up to this. If you have been following week on week, thank you so much for your support. We're only really just getting started. We've been laying the foundation, and so onwards and upwards, we look forward to what's to come. And don't forget, guys, consistency is the choice you make when you start doing the things you know you should be doing day in and day out.